Well, we're back with the Beyond the Flags podcast, and my next guest is a driver that did some time as far as serving our country in the U.S. military with the Air Force branch. Originally from Prescott Valley, Arizona, he has been tearing it up in the Pacific Northwest in the Friesen Performance IMCA Modifieds. We're talking about Timothy Allerdings, about his incredible story and living his dream of racing for a living. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, here he is. He's the pilot of the Friesen Performance IMCA Modified number 27, now calling Prescott Valley, Arizona home these days. Timothy Allerdings. Timothy, great to catch up with you. Great that maybe some folks out there listening have never heard of you, never seen you race, but they will now after this little chat we're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Well, we have been running into each other a lot this year. IMCA TV Winter Nationals the last couple seasons. Obviously, you live in Arizona now, but you've been making a lot of trips to Wairika Speedway. Been seeing you there quite a bit. Let's see, you were at Douglas County Dirt Track, right, in Roseburg for their season opener, I think. You've been putting some miles on.
Yeah, it's West Coast over here. This is where the money's at right now. So racing full time this year, I gotta obviously go where the money is, and I wanted to be in Arizona right now, but money's here. Got 5,000 to win coming up at Wairika Speedway. This weekend at the Southern Oregon Speedway, we got 3,000 to win, and then here in a little less than a month, we're gonna kick off the Oregon Speed Week Wild West deal.
Well,
might as well be here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Southern Oregon Speedway, you won there for their season opener in dominating fashion. And then the second of two nights at Wairika, really great battle between you and Matt Campfrat, and you wound up with the advantage on the bottom, just finessed the throttle just right and didn't miss your marks and picked up a victory. You were second the night before at Wairika on the Friday show. Just a lot of speed, and it seems like you guys have found a lot of balance with your car.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and our shot guy, Ralphie, TDS Suspension, and Clay Daly, obviously, Twisted Motorsports, Evolutions, his entire deal. We got this deal rolling real good right now. I think we won 3 or 4 heat races in the last 6 races, and picked up, obviously, the last 3 races was a first, a second, and a first. So we definitely got this deal rolling pretty good right now, which is good with the big money shows coming up, like we were saying, 5,000 at Wairika, 3,000 at Southern Oregon Speedway. But really, I'm just trying to get dialed in for the Oregon Speed Week deal. Hopefully we can have a little bit better turnout this year than we did last year. We won one last year, but it's just hard to be up there consistently every single night with the competition that's there. So hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit better this year and hopefully get the championship for the week.
Yeah, and the 3 tracks that I've seen you race at, that's a part of the IMCA Wild West Shootout that'll be kicking off on June 15th. But the kickoff to the kickoff, like you said, the Rich and Nikki Bean Memorial at Wairika on the 14th of June, $5,000 to win. That's going to be just a great way to open things up. You don't have the pressure of, man, I got to put a good week. I mean, you have the pressure of don't wreck and destroy your stuff on the first night, right? But you don't have that pressure of the long game, right? It's we got to get the job done now and tonight.
Yeah, that's for sure. So we're just trying to get some laps over here, while we can to set us up for some success in the future. Obviously, hitting these weekly shows is getting us to learn a little bit about the track, what it's going to do each day with different track conditions, and I think so far we got a good package going for the big races coming up.
Well, and I've always wondered this, and forgive me for never asking you this. So this year, so Prescott Valley, Arizona, that's where you guys are based, but you've been running so much here. How does it work? Do you just drop your transport off at a shop and you fly back to Arizona, or do you take everything with you? How do the logistics work?
So, yeah, Arizona's home base, but I got my trailer, which has the living quarters in it and the garage in the back. And so live out of the front of it on the road and race. And right now I'm actually at Ethan Killingsworth's dad's shop right now. They got a nice property here in close to Wairika. He's gracious enough to let me stay here and have a bay in the shop, work on everything, and obviously I got my home on wheels, so I'm pretty mobile. I can do a lot.
There you go. And you can bring work with you wherever you go too.
Yep, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because work never leaves my mind then, because there's always something to do to a race car, you know.
Yeah, every time you go in the garage, you can find something racing related to work on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My weeks stay busy, that is for sure.
Well, I love always digging into how people start and began in racing. And the first time that you and I met was, gosh, maybe like 2019, 2018 somewhere. You came up, and I think it was with Jason Ferguson and a couple guys from the Marysville area. Had to have been for a sport mod race we had at Cottage Grove Speedway. And I just remember your name was interesting with Allerdings, because there's a family that races sprint car, Allerdings, and I was just trying to tell myself, don't say Allerdings, it's Allerdings. And then you got Adam Hollerding that races Mojave Valley Raceway to throw stuff in the mix now. But for you, when did your racing career begin? I know that you ran SportMods. You were the 2020 champ, state champ. With Friesen Performance IMCA Northern SportMods.
Yeah, so you're actually right. 2019 was my first year ever racing, and I was in a sport mod. And yep, I went up for the Freedom Cup at Cottage Grove there in July, and then also went for the R. Charles in 2019. And I actually had a pretty good showing for both those races for my first time being up there. But obviously, it was my first race car, so it wasn't quality stuff. You know, it was kind of just a budget intro to kind of get into racing and see if this is what I wanted to do. My dad used to race, so I've always wanted to. And then, you know, while I was in the military, I was fortunate enough to be able to save up enough money and get a trailer and a race car and start doing it. And ever since then, I mean, it's become a love. I mean, right now it's my livelihood, you know. So it's definitely been a long journey, but like you said, Jason Ferguson, Jimmy Ford, Mike Merritt, those guys down south, that's where I started racing, right around Marysville, Chico. And they got me going. They luckily drug me up there for the 4th of July deal in the R. Charles. And that was kind of whenever the love for traveling and racing together was just, that was the most fun I've had in my life. So I knew one day, I was like, dang, I really want to do this full time. And last year I tried it and I made it a few months, and then funds got a little short. So this year we got more funding, and we're looking good. We're going to be able to, especially if we keep doing good, but we're looking good for the rest of the year to be able to do a good amount of racing actually this year.
Well, what was that experience like? First firing up a car and going out and racing. I assume it would have been Marysville Raceway, close proximity to where you grew up, Yuba City.
Yep. So Yuba City, yeah, I was only in Yuba City while I was in the Air Force, and that was it. Actually, that's how I met everybody out here. That's why I come up here to Wairika, Southern Oregon. I mean, this is where all my friends are at, you know, because at the racetrack, that's all you do. You know, you make friends, you make family, so this is the only place I've really raced. I've raced in Arizona a good amount, but never enough to create like real lasting bonds, you know. So up here, this is where I like to be. This is where my friends are at. This is where my family's at, you know. So I do like it up here.
Well, and what prompted the move to Prescott Valley?
That is where I grew up for the most part, actually.
Oh, okay.
So, like, that's where I graduated high school, joined the military out of Arizona, and then got out of the military at the end of 2022. And then that was whenever I tried the full-time deal at the beginning of last year, which was my rookie year in the modified was last year, and we had good success in the right about now, May to June timeframe last year, and unfortunately kind of just strung out and didn't have the success and ended up ending our season a little early last year, unfortunately. But this year we're hitting it hard and so far doing pretty dang good. So hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Well, and how much of an eye-opener was it, or how much difficulty was it transitioning from the IMCA Northern Sport Mod to the IMCA Modified? Did that take some time to get a handle on it, or was it basic fundamentals and just slight adjustments?
Well, so with the Sport Mod deal to a mod, I think I had it the easiest because, like I said, my Sport Mod stuff wasn't very high dollar stuff. It was pretty bad, actually, looking back on it. I mean, I did great in it. I had good showings, but just never the success. So I stepped out of the Sport Mod for a year and a half to save up for a brand new modified from Clay Daly, System Motorsports. And so that year and a half away, whenever I got back in the race car, I don't think I had like the Sport Mod mindset. It was more just like, this is just another race car. So I actually hit the ground running, and we ended up doing really good at the Winter Nationals last year. Did pretty good, won a heat race, made 3 or 4 mains out of the 8 or 9 nights, which was my first seat time in the modified was then. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to go from not racing mods to racing against 90 people and usually the best in the country.
Yeah. No, it's a change of pace sometimes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, and going back to your starting the racing, now that I see the whole, you joined the military, which I thank you personally for your service to this country.
Thank you very much.
What got was it that Marysville was so close to Yuba and you just kind of wandered over there and then eventually just befriended some of these guys and got into racing, or what was that step like?
So I was only, before my first deployment, I was only around the area for a little bit of time, and I actually ended up going to Chico to watch races and Marysville to watch races, and Merced I was watching races. And just watching the racing, there was such a good sport mod count, and the racing was always good. So I was like, you know what? I think that's what I would like to do. And then doing research, IMCA Sport Mods run everywhere in the country damn near. So I was like, well, that's great because then I can travel if I want to and race. So that was kind of just like all right, let's get the money, and then saved up money on my first deployment, got back from the deployment, and I think 3 days later, I bought the race car while I was deployed. I had my parents go and pick it up from a fella in Arizona.
Okay. And
they drove it to California, met me here, and I landed, got off the plane, and then 3 days later we were at the racetrack. Kind of happened quick after we got back, but never second guessed it. It was a great time and got me hooked, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool story. Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. Well, what's the story with your number, 27? Is there any significance to that, or was this something that was on the car, or what is the story?
That is my dad's racing number. So I watched him racing growing up and told myself that, whenever I got racing one day, because positive mindset, of course. I knew it would happen. It was just a matter of time. So 27, that's my dad's number.
And
Good afternoon.
do you know the story why he chose 27, or was it just something given to him, or like an old football number?
That is an excellent question, actually. I could probably ask him that one. I actually don't know.
Hey, we're gonna have to do a part 2.
Yeah, part 2, figure out why I'm 27. I mean, I know why, but I don't know the real reason why,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it was my parking number at the warehouse. So, yeah. Well, this can be we'll just say it's for Prescott Valley for people that have never been there. You and I were talking about it actually at the races the other night in Wairika. Used to be a racetrack there, unfortunately not there. I mean, there is, you were saying there might be some rumblings that there's a potential possibility of it maybe reopening, but nothing anytime soon.
Nothing anytime soon, unfortunately. I just wish there was, but it's one of those deals where there's a racetrack there and people decide to put a housing development there. So, unfortunately, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes, I guess.
Well, for people that have never been there, what are some cool things to do? Or I'm sure there's some great points of interest to check out if they're visiting there or just driving through.
Oh, yeah. Northern Arizona is absolutely beautiful. No, nothing else I've ever seen in my life's like that. I mean, you can drive an hour and a half south and you're in the desert of Phoenix, or you drive an hour and a half north and you're in Flagstaff and it's, 50 degrees and or down in Phoenix is going to be 90 or 80. Mm-hmm. It's just so different in Arizona because you have your desert and you have the mountains. But up in the mountains is kind of where I tend to stay because I don't like the heat. But definitely Williams, Arizona, if you've never been there. They got a super cool, like old school railroad thing. It's like a historic town, so there's just, all the shops and everything. That place was always a hit whenever I was there, that's for sure. And, of course, the Grand Canyon. Who wouldn't love to go see the Grand Canyon?
Yeah. So how far is the Grand Canyon from there? Not too far, right?
Prescott Valley, yeah, about 2 hours is all.
Okay. Yeah.
Real close.
I've never seen it, but I've went on several occasions, not by my choosing, but to get to Phoenix. What is that? 93 down Kingman, Bullhead City, through Wickenburg, and then come through the north. Basically, coming through the back door, I like to call it. So.
Yep, that is exactly right.
But I mean that's beautiful country. It's not like blazing heat, but it's not as mountainous. I guess I'm just a little too far to the west to see the the scenic beauty of Williams and Prescott Valley.
Oh yeah, it's tame. It's not crazy. It's not Rocky Mountains or nothing, but it's nice. It's a nice area. It's just hard to race out of there because during the summertime nowhere races. I mean, Brad Whitfield has Deuce of Clubs Raceway in Cholo, where I was also born, going, but that's just one racetrack, for miles and miles. So I'd be traveling. So it's just smarter to come out here and hang out with all my friends up this way and do the racing here.
Yeah, because that's to the east, right? Towards the kind of towards the Four Corners, right, of New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. Yeah,
probably about 80 miles south of Four Corners is where Cholo's at. Pretty close to the New Mexico border.
Okay.
Over on Highway 260. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I'm getting it all together, and it's cool to see a track like that open and give some folks that race there a summer option because they have that summer shutdown from basically this time of the year, late May, early June, till sometimes Labor Day, if not further.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's hard racing in Arizona during the summertime, as most people would expect. So that's why we're here.
Well, for you, things that you like to do. I mean, obviously, it's hard to get away from racing. Literally, it's attached to you. But things that you like to do just to kind of get away, get in a good headspace. What are some of your pastimes?
Well, number one, just traveling and sightseeing. A few weeks ago, right before, it would have been Douglas and Southern Oregon Speedway last weekend. We went to Central Oregon, went and saw a bunch of rivers, camped up there, waterfalls, and then came down here last week and doing some hiking, waterfalls again. Went to Lake Siskiyou, which was super cold, but the dog loved it, so that's what matters.
Yeah, yeah.
But really just traveling, seeing things that's all around here. I don't have much time to do it, but playing video games is always like, I don't know, it just calms me down, you know. It gets my mind off of racing, which is good sometimes because, as everybody knows, it's testing. Racing will test you. There's highs, there's lows. Sometimes you just got to step away and kind of get a clear mind space. So I think, you know, video games will help me for a few hours, and then I'm like, all right, let me try to go to sleep, and then I'm still thinking about racing. But
sure.
It's in my blood.
I mean, I'm listening to the, you know, IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast on a drive, or me and my buddies we were talking about this off air, listening to a race, going to the track, or, you know, lounging about in the hotel, because it's just like you drivers, you know, who's doing what where. That way,
exactly.
Obviously, some of these big races, so there's some fast cats coming from different parts of the country. You got to know who they are, or at least, you know, you try to sound somewhat intelligent. But then also for you guys, when I say you guys drivers, it's an opportunity to look at places, how they race, and this guy's coming here, how does this guy race, or how you know, what's his technique as far as he drives? Because that could, I imagine, like, you know, Winter Nationals, you're going up against 90 guys, like you said. I only race against these guys, you know, 8-9 times a year, and most likely I'm not going to see them except for a couple times throughout those 8 or 9 nights. So, you know, you get kind of that familiarity of, are they wild and crazy, or are they kind of relaxed and respectful?
Yeah, that's one of those things where you do your research off the track. You know, you can learn a lot. Like coming up here, you know, last summer, I only came up here for the Oregon Speed Week deal, but I learned a lot about the people up here, you know, how they drive, when they're going to be good, when they're going to be bad. Because, you know, there's people that, for me, for the longest time, I couldn't put a night together, but lately I've been able to. But some people are good in the mud, some people are good in the dry, so it's like, all right, if they start in front of me and they're not good, how can I get by them quickly? Because some tracks, you know, it becomes a little hard to pass sometimes if they're one lane or whatever. So it's one of those things where you watch everywhere, you see what everybody's doing that you know you're going to race with, so that you can have a game plan whenever that green flag drops of how you're going to execute, you know, get the job done.
For sure. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about your beginnings and the current happenings, as well as some of the things that you're wanting to accomplish. You mentioned, you know, funding that pays for the party, basically. That keeps you motivated, keeps you on the road. I know that you mentioned some people, but folks that you want to mention, you can mention them again. And of course, your sponsors and marketing partners that make you keep turning left.
Yep, absolutely. So up here, obviously, the Killingsworth, Ethan and Lance, they've been helping me out so much up here. I mean, giving me a place to stay, place to work on my stuff. Obviously, I wouldn't be getting these wins if I wasn't able to have a good place to work on the car to get it going. So that's going to be Ace's Affordable Auto Glasses, his family business here in Wairika. They're great people. And we also got Juan Cota with J. Cota Forestry up here. He was just by the shop, actually. We're real good friends. He helps out a lot, and he sponsors me, and he keeps me going. He's like the guy that pushes me harder to be better, you know. Like last week at Southern Oregon Speedway, we ended up cracking the timing chain cover again, and I wasn't going to race, but he ended up busting his ass to get it done to be able to race. Because I didn't have it in me, and he got it done. So Juan Cota, that man, he's a legend. So thank him very much. And then we'll go through the other sponsors. We got Summit 4x4 Company in Prescott, Jim and Veronica Pettit. Everybody, go tell Jim to run the Oregon Speed Week deal. Clay Daly with Twisted Motorsports. He keeps this deal rolling. I can't understand it, but the things he does, the car will be good for a while, and then he'll tweak something and it'll be even better. So he tweaked the car actually right before the main on Saturday last night at Wairika whenever I won. So I thank him for that. Prescott Valley Disc and Spine Center, Haas family, Big O Tires Cottonwood, my parents of course, Grandma Allerdings, Able Auto Glass in Prescott Valley, Batteries Plus Prescott Valley, EMD Wraps, Jeremy Thornton, keeps the car looking good, Legacy Construction and Management, Top Shelf Motorsports, Yuba City Scrap and Steel, and O'Hare Family Farms.
Okay. And
2024.
And I noticed every time I go by the transport, you've got shirts and sweatshirts. That's a big way to help directly fund you. Like fans can help out. Maybe there's some people listening here and they've heard your story and it's like, you know what, I want to buy a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. Is there a good team page that you guys have or a social media account that folks can do online orders and you can ship them, or is it just keep an eye on something and just get them at the track?
Nope. Yep, we ship. If you message me, it'll be Allerdings Racing on Facebook. Message there, and I'll ship or I'll have them at the racetrack. We got shirts, hoodies, hats, just the usual stuff. $20 for a shirt, $35 for a hoodie, $20 for a hat. So, and shipping is available. So if you're not from, Oregon, or that's where I'm going to be for the next month, but I'll be out to Iowa here like the beginning of July. I'll be out there.
Okay. All right. Well, we wish you well for these big upcoming races. I'm sure we're going to be running into each other a lot. And this has been a great conversation, Timothy, and I can't wait to see what the rest of 2024 is going to have in store for you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ben. Hopefully we can keep the success rolling and have fun.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions. Before we let everybody go, here's the upcoming schedule on IMCA TV of live pay-per-view events. On Tuesday, June 4th, McLean County Speedway in Underwood, North Dakota will open up the Tougher Than Dirt Tour. Wednesday, June 5th will feature racing action out of Buena Vista Raceway in Alta, Iowa, as well as the Tougher Than Dirt Tour taking on Southwest Speedway in Dickinson, North Dakota. Thursday, June 6th, a pair of bouts, Williston Basin Speedway in North Dakota for the Tougher Than Dirt Tour, and Kazooth County Speedway in Algona, Iowa. Friday night, we'll have a full card of action, Davenport Speedway in Iowa, along with Hancock County Speedway in Britt, Iowa, Dakota Speedway in Mandan, North Dakota, Beatrice Speedway in Nebraska, Black Hills Speedway in Rapid City, South Dakota. Estevan Motor Speedway will take things north of the border as they will host the Tougher Than Dirt Tour on Friday night. It'll be a full card of racing on Saturday, June 8th, Crystal Motor Speedway in Michigan. In Iowa, Makokata Speedway, Eagle Raceway in Nebraska, Grays Harbor Raceway in Elma, Washington, Boone Speedway in Iowa returns, along with Shelby County Speedway in Harlan, Iowa, Southern Oklahoma Speedway in Ardmore, Thunder Mountain Speedway in Bottineau, North Dakota will host the Robbie Conway Memorial with the Tougher Than Dirt Tour, Arlington Raceway in Minnesota, Electric City Speedway in Great Falls, Montana, Thunderbolt Raceway for the Central California Clash in Tulare, California. And Sunday night will feature a full night of action. Interstate Speedway in Jefferson, South Dakota, Redwood Speedway in Redwood Falls, Minnesota, Dubuque Fairgrounds Speedway in Iowa, Benton County Speedway in Benton, Iowa, Buffalo River Speedway in Glendon, Minnesota, and Nodak Speedway in Minot, North Dakota for the Tougher Than Dirt Tour. And kicking the week off will be the Monday Madness on the 10th of June at Independence Motor Speedway in Iowa.